You are now listening to the Hot Take
Super
Hot
Bowl
Box.
58, ladies and gentlemen. Last night, the Chiefs took a victory, back-to-back Super Bowl W's, this time against the San Francisco 49ers, 25-22. Final score. Cry, 49ers cry. I couldn't be happier, and it couldn't have happened to a better organization and a better fan base. I hope you all are so sad today, and all of you scumbags in San Francisco cry and continue to cry because you are just one step above Cowboys fans. You haven't experienced any true victories, championships, that is, and you are still just looking back at videos of Steve Young and Joe Montana from the past. My name is Matt McSweeney. I'm joined by Ty Capone. Ty, how are you feeling?
Pretty good, pretty good. I had a wager on the Chiefs. I had a bunch of people over. We actually had a good amount of people show up for a nice little Super Bowl soiree, if you will, at me and my roommate's spot. So that was fun. We had a couple doggos came over.
Hell yeah.
Nice little lab. We had him running around, not biting me, just scratching me up a little bit. That was fun. A bunch of liquor, all the stuff, all the things, and the Chiefs won. So I hope Niners fans. I hope they're over playing Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. I know I am. I know we are.
Yeah.
But now they get another taste, and they get Kyle Shanahan just faltering in any kind of Super Bowl moment for the third straight, not straight consecutively year-wise, but the third appearance he's made. He has blown a 10-point lead again. That's crazy. I think he's such a great mind, but man, Spags just took his lunch money, I guess, running all this motion and shotgun and long developing plays when they're zero blitzing you is that 3rd and 4, man. It's gonna haunt them for a while. But great teams find a way to win. Travis Kelce didn't do shit in the first half, and then he showed up. George Kittle, Key West Kittle, had 1 catch for 4 yards, and then he had 1 catch for 0 yards, and that's all he did. I don't. Did he play? Actually, He might not have played. I think he thinks the game's tomorrow. Actually, let me see if he knows. Oh, it's the wrong Sunday. Next Sunday they play.
Okay. Right.
Deebo Samuel. I don't know.
Shockingly, was grabbing his hamstring at some point during this game.
Yeah,
it seems
he got hurt.
Like that always
so
happens.
bad. Yeah, weird. And then he came back in the game and did Dickie McGee's acts. He barely outplayed Kyle Juszczyk.
Juszczyk had a hell of a game. Probably the only guy that really. Jawan Jennings was about to win MVP if it had gone the other way.
Yeah, shout out to Kristen Juszczyk, Kyle's amazingly beautiful wife, by the way. Jawan Jennings, what a play that was.
That was a hell of a play.
I don't know if it was L'Jarius Sneed, but he bodied that corner, number 38. Just don't know who he is. Leo Chanel had the game of his life, blocked the extra point, and he forced the fumble in the first quarter. Really, 2 just huge moments of that game. Shout out to Wisconsin Badgers. Couldn't be my LSU Tigers this year. Hey, but Mahomes was. I honestly don't think Brock Purdy was that bad. His numbers don't look amazing. He didn't run. He didn't use his legs as much as he usually sometimes does. But I think Nick Bolton kind of being a spy, kind of just being that off-ball linebacker that Spags just knows what he's doing, man. Like, these guys weren't getting open. There wasn't any run lanes. Christian McCaffrey, his longest run of the night was 11 yards. He was doing well as a receiver, but it didn't seem like in the second half they could really get anything going in the pass game. Again, Ayuk had a decent game, but he just only 3 catches. Debo had 3 catches. Kittle had 2. They couldn't do anything. 2 turnovers, just costly turnovers. The special teams absolutely fucked them when that guy, the punt hit the guy's leg, and then Ray McCloud tried to recover it. He tried to pick it up and run, which was dumb. Should just dove on it.
Yeah.
And then they got the ball, and then I think right away, first play, they threw to MVS and took the lead. Once they took the lead, I was like, man, this is over. But the Niners were able to rally a little bit, right? And then the blocked extra point. The Niners answered right away, right after that, with a long drive, 12-play, 75-yard drive that ended with that touchdown to Jawan Jennings, and then Leo Chanel blocks the extra point. And that's when I think everyone's like, oh, man, we're just trying to give this game away.
Yeah.
And then it didn't matter. I see a lot of chatter about this, and it means nothing. It's kind of being over talked about, but nobody on the Niners knew what the overtime rules were.
Yeah, That's
crazy.
Like you said, like I don't think that's like it's definitely being like over talked about, but it's also just like how do you not know like how do you not know that? I mean I personally didn't know it, but I also wasn't playing in the game, so I mean I feel like the Chiefs were talking about they already knew about this and they had talked about what they were going to do and they had a whole game plan for either scenario. So how do you, as a guy who's playing in the game, and especially your head coach, seemed like he had no idea what to do and made the wrong choice? Like I thought right away you should have just given the ball to the other team. No matter what happens, you give the ball to the other team. And I heard some people say, well, it doesn't matter if they both score a touchdown, then you get the ball back and then it's your chance to win. Well, it's like, but like the Chiefs had already said, like it's not going to matter because if they score a touchdown and we go down and score a touchdown, we're going for two. And we're going to decide the game here on a 2-yard play, and that's the right call to do, I'd say.
I do think the Niners' defense was gassed, and that's probably what led to that them doing that. Again, it just kind of bogs my mind. Adam Schefter said it earlier. He was on the McAfee show, and he's like, there wasn't a memo sent out to all the teams about the overtime rules. They should have just all known. Like, they all do know. So there doesn't have to be a memo sent out. Like, all these teams know. It's just crazy that Kyle Juszczyk, of all people, he's like heart and soul of that team, damn near. He didn't know. Yeah. Like, if they would have scored a touchdown, imagine the whole team just runs on the field acting like the game's over. And it's like, whoa. Sixers versus Celtics throwback with the confetti. Let's bring this back to the sideline, guys. The game's not over. So that would have been funny to see. That would have been cool to see. The halftime show was awesome. I wish it was a little longer, honestly.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. Seeing Ludacris pop up was awesome. Lil Jon looks great for, I think he's like 50. That was fun.
Did you realize how old you were when you saw people tweeting, who's that guy? And it was literally them circling Lil Jon. I'm like, oh, man, I'm getting old. There's these 13-year-olds who are like, yo, who the fuck is that guy? They're like, I know that guy. He's in Fast and the Furious. You're like, oh, man, no, you're not talking about Luda. Yeah, man. I'm getting old, though.
Sad. We are getting old. We are getting decrepitly old. So, yeah. It was boring. The beginning of the game
was boring itself. I will say that.
I will say the second half, though, it at least got eventful. And it's not just because it's the second half, but like even the third quarter, that's when every play just became so important. You saw a couple fuck ups happening. You're like, damn, man, like who's going to grab this game and take it? And the Chiefs did, but then the Niners answered, and then the Chiefs, it was then it was back and forth. But yeah, I agree for the most part. But the fact that it did end pretty well, I have no complaints about the game as a whole. Maybe that's because I was, enjoying some beverages and whatnot. But some Delta 8.
We were just watching it as fans. This is the thing about the Super Bowl, especially when the birds aren't in it. It's just a game where you really, you may have a bet here and there, but it's kind of just the ultimate. Just enjoy. It's the last game of the year. Last time you're going to get to see the shield, the NFL shield on the field, and get the experience. One more football Sunday before you go into kind of a hibernation for half a year, 7 months, until some meaningful football happens again. So you just enjoy it. You take it in, and the first half seemed like a back and forth of who's going to blink first, who's going to make the first mistake, but then they kind of were going back and forth making mistakes. Pacheco fumble, McCaffrey fumble, and then the second half there were, and Mahomes throwing an interception. There was plenty of mistakes back and forth, but
Kelsey didn't show up in the first half.
No, and he's assaulting Andy Reid on the sideline, which that was quite a thing to see.
That was wild, yeah.
But that's just that's football, though. That's being in the Super Bowl. That's the intensity of everyone's trying to get a certain goal accomplished and done. And you were starting to the intensity on one sideline was like, we are letting this slip through our fingers. We need to do something about it. And the other sideline, I'm not saying they weren't intense, but it just didn't seem like they were able to match that intensity. I mean, crazy, to see Dre Greenlaw blow his Achilles out running onto the field. That's insane. I've never seen that before. That's unfortunate. I know he's had his history with Big Dom. I don't want to see a guy get seriously injured like that. That's seriously unfortunate. Big Dom was on the field before the game, though, so that's a little alarming that happened. Maybe somebody should look into that. That the Italians might have pulled something there, but all in all,
also with Dre Greenlaw, real quick, his backup came in, gave up 9 catches on 9 targets 1 touchdown, had a Pro Football Focus coverage grade of 32, and he had a passer rating of 134.7 when targeted. So yeah, that sucks. That's shout out to Dave Greenlaw, shout out to Dre Greenlaw, shout out to all the Greenlaws. Yeah, seeing that happen, man, in the biggest stage, the biggest moment. Now, what's the status going to be for next year? Like, who knows?
Probably
right?
done next year. Yeah,
who knows what happens for the rest of his career? So he was a damn good player in college, and he had like fucking thousands of tackles at Arkansas. So yeah, that sucks to see. I hate it. I hate that he's a Niner, and I hate that he tore his Achilles doing calisthenics to get ready to stretch himself before he gets on the field. Just makes a movement, a regular movement, and snaps his Achilles. That's fucking terrible.
Yep. He's just like fired up to get back out in the field, and then his Achilles just blows out from him when he's running back out there. So that's unfortunate. I agree with what you said about Brock. I don't think Brock was bad. I don't think he was great, but I don't think he was necessarily bad. He made some good throws here and there, and yeah. I just think there's only so much he can do as a he's limited as a talent. I would say he didn't. I am in agreement though. I don't think he used his legs that much, but I really don't think he's that quick of a guy when you keep him in the pocket. It seemed like that was the kind of goal from the Niners, or not the Niners, the Chiefs' defensive line, was to kind of hem him in and keep him in the pocket and make him make throws from inside that little confined space. And when he was able to get out, they had somebody spying him and running him down on the outside, or if not spying him, then somebody broke out from the defensive line and kept him from really picking up serious yards on the ground. Mahomes was able to pick up some serious yards with his feet, and Andy still is showing you why he is one of the greatest offensive minds this league has ever seen. He still pulls out plays that you're not expecting, or what was it, one of the fourth downs where they ran that kind of motion with Kelsey, the fake kind of like pitch that they always run, but Mahomes kept it and ran up the middle, picked up like 15 yards. Just stuff like that. The motion that they ran against us last year, that kind of to Juju with that fake going in and then fake going back out when Bradbury kind of peeled off of Gardner. I think that's who it was. But
love it.
Yeah. It's
1 year ago today, actually. My Snapchat decided to tell me, like, hey, this is what happened a year ago today, buddy. Do you remember? Yeah, I remember. So,
goddamn right I do.
Yeah, brutal.
It's unfortunate, but hey, man, the Chiefs, they were a team, like, you saw them live this year, and we kind of talked about leading up to this game. They just seemed like they are one of those, like, Patriot-like teams that just find a way to win. No matter what happens, they always find a way for things to go their way. And that was another example of that happening in that game last night. And really, I mean, Pat Mahomes won the MVP. And I think it kind of came down to who else were you going to give it to.
Yeah.
Nobody was really worthy of it. Yeah.
Harrison Butker for that field goal, the longest field goal in Super Bowl history. That was pretty crazy.
Moody was bagging 50-yarders like no problem the whole game.
I think who else could you have really given it to? Chris Jones? No. Trent McDuffie? No. Kelsey? No. If Kelsey would have scored the walk-off, the late touchdown, maybe. But honestly, I would have not been upset if McCall Hardman got it. So, but no, I think Mahomes definitely deserved it. I mean, 400 total yards.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, dude, just I'm not going to call him the GOAT yet. It's so hard to catch Tom Brady, but man, he's making it look easy on his path, on his journey. He's the same age as you and I. He's 28 and he has 3 rings. I think there's only five quarterbacks with 3 rings all time, right? It's Brady, is it Elway, Mahomes, Montana, and
Bradshaw.
Steve Young? Bradshaw, yes. So maybe Steve Young's in there for Elway. I don't know if Elway I don't know.
I think Elway's got 2.
Yeah, so maybe it is. Yeah. And the fact he's already there at 28. Is he your number 2 best quarterback of all time as it stands right this moment?
Right now, I would probably he's right there with Peyton at 2 in my mind, and I know my list is kind of skewed to Troy Aikman, Bradshaw, Montana, and Brady are the 3 with.
That's right, Aikman.
Yeah,
Fuck
Aikman.
me.
I forgot about him. That's how I wanted to look that up because I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, we're missing somebody here that I haven't.
Somebody, yeah.
But no, I think if he hasn't surpassed Peyton, he's right there on his level. Because honestly, why hasn't he surpassed him? Really? Because he may not have the great statistical seasons, but This guy just the way he plays the game, it's so much different than those other guys that we're naming, and he has that in him. He really last year we saw it with our own eyes that we're running to pick up them yards at the end of the game, and he has that it factor that rip your heart out of your chest kind of.
The Brady factor.
Yes, he really does. He has that, and I think we need to respect it and understand what we're watching. And I do now. And then I don't love it when he's playing the Eagles, but when you're just watching a game against the 49ers, you sure do grow an appreciation for it. And this guy is generational. He really is. And I don't see any reason why he shouldn't be right there in the conversation with the Joe Montana. He's better than Troy Aikman. Terry Bradshaw, it's just a different game than it was then. So, I hate when people start proving out the stats and all that. And it's more, to me, it's more of how you how you win these games and how you find a way. And I think in all three of their Super Bowl victories, were they down by 10 points, I think? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Both times against the Niners. And
were they down 10 last night?
Yeah, 10-0.
Right? That's what I thought. Okay, yeah, so.
Crazy.
Pretty crazy. So that just goes to show you what kind of guy and what he has inside him, and he's built different. Truly is.
How many times did Peyton play on a stacked team and come up short?
Yeah.
And kind of get himself carried to a ring that one time, right, with the Broncos.
Oh, hell yeah.
He had that legendary season. That absolutely was like 20 of 50 in the game. So, yeah, I have no problem with that. I mean, an actual dual threat, just so smart and so methodical and so surgical. He's up there for sure. I mean, he's probably going to get another one or two, right? I don't see why not.
Why not?
We'll see what they do next year. I mean, they're going to have to give him some receivers, right? Because there's a chance that things just don't go.
But do they? He just won. I mean, he just won the Super Bowl with MVS and Rashee Rice.
Yeah, I think they should definitely draft another Rashee Rice type, or maybe get a big, speedy guy kind of to replace MVS or Hardman. I'm sure both of them won't be back. Maybe get another tight end just to kind of, have another option. And I'm sure, let's say they win it again. Let's say they win it next year. Does Kelsey retire? I think maybe him and Big Red hang him up, or at least one of them. So you're going to have to try to find another game breaker in some sort at running back or a receiver or tight end. And they're pretty good at finding those guys. So I have faith in them to do that. Good front office, good coaching staff in general. They're going to keep Spags. Nobody's going to really want him as a head coach. He's older, so yeah, they're going to be back again.
Yeah, and really, no reason not to. They're in a perfect situation. I on the other side of the field, you got the 49ers who again come up short, and I find it hilarious, obviously, and I think you do as well. I just fuck them.
Love it.
That's how I feel. I don't care. You all popped in the comments. You had cry 49ers or whatever. Cry Eagles, cry. You had all that shit to talk. You said all that shit after the Super Bowl last year when we got screwed, and you knew it. And now you have no excuse. You said, well, it would have been different if Brock was healthy and Brock played, and when Brock's here, it'll be different. Well, you made the Super Bowl. You choked. Your head coach is a choker. He's a known choke artist. And the same thing happened once again. So congratulations to the 49ers for coming up short. You'll be paying Brock Purdy franchise quarterback money soon enough. I don't know if it's this offseason, but that time is coming up.
No, they still got a couple years.
Yeah.
They got lucky that they drafted him in the 7th round and didn't sign him as a UDFA because they have more control, and then they can tag him. So they don't have to extend him, but eventually they're going to have to make a choice, right? A couple of years, they're definitely going to have a decision to make. I would not pay him big money, but I also kind of said that about Hurts, and I was like, well, what the fuck else are we going to do? I saw people saying that Shanahan needs a quarterback to transcend his system, and I just don't know where you can get those guys. I mean, this draft class is pretty weak at quarterback, and they're all going to go early, top 5, top 10. Look at next year, man. It's bad. There should be somebody like Jaden Daniels who just pops up out of nowhere and then, is one of the top 3, top 5 quarterbacks. But it's Carson Beck, it's Shadur Sanders, and that's it. People want to hype up Jalen Milroe. I think he stinks.
He's not good.
I think he might just have to move positions in the NFL. I'm not saying that because he's a running quarterback. I'm saying that because he can't throw. He kind of reminds me of Terrell Pryor a little bit, just a little thicker.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they have a lot of what ifs. They have a lot of question marks. The San Francisco 49ers. Their O line, besides Trent Williams, is not great. And what happens when Trent Williams finally ages, or somebody knocks him the fuck out? Hopefully. But what happens when Kittle or Debo or Ayuk leave? They're gonna have to give Ayuk a lot of money, and I think they will because they know he's probably their best receiver, true receiver. But yeah, not having Hufanaga definitely hurt them. They had a couple injuries, but Nick Bosa was balling. I didn't notice Hargrave that much. I think he had a couple big plays, but yeah, the NFC, at least the NFC is pretty not good, right? At least they have that going for them. But it's still going to be tough, man. Getting back there is, I mean, look how hard it was for us, right? So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I would say they're probably more equipped to get back there than we were necessarily this year. But
we lost everything.
Yeah, but again, it's who's to say? I mean, they're going to have a lot of the same coaching staff. I think they have a lot better of a leadership structure in their just kind of franchise in general, with John Lynch running things down to Kyle Shanahan. But things are going to start to kind of burst at the seams there, I would assume, because how many times can you get back or get close like that with the same kind of crew of guys, with mix in here and there, and the Debo, Kittle, and you come up short, and at some points the fingers are going to start pointing, and people are going to start getting upset and mad at Shanahan or mad at this guy or mad at that guy. It's kind of what happened this year here in Philadelphia. So anything can happen. You got another year, of Debo, another year older, Kittle, another year older. All these guys another year older. It's unfortunate. They come up short again. It's unfortunate for them. It's great for me. Fuck them. Who cares?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Fletcher Cox told them to eat a dick after the game. So that's because they don't know when to shut the fuck up. I think that is 49ers, the players and the fans' problem is they don't know when to shut their mouths. And now they're finding it out.
Fan base.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I think one of the worst fan bases for sure. Them and the Raiders. I mean, there's a reason those guys brawl every game. How many times do you see Eagles fans brawling after a game on social media? It's not that often. I mean, surely a couple times, but I don't really see that, man. I see a lot of Bills. I see a lot of Raiders, Niners, Cowboys. Yeah, the Niners suck. The fan base sucks. They suck. They play in San Fran. Blow me. Eat a dick, like Fletcher Cox
said. Eat a dick,
said.
as Fletcher Cox said. That's pretty crazy.
Telling somebody to eat a dick is one of the best things, I think. You could tell somebody, one of the best insults.
You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box.